Sapete cosa rende eterno questo momento? Che ha una storia unica. Come quella di 11 anni fa. Quante cose sono cambiate da allora. Altre invece non sono cambiate affatto. Come la nostra voglia di essere i migliori. Sempre. Anche quando si giocava senza reti nelle porte, ma con la stessa passione che ci univa. Anche quando il percorso per la vittoria sembrava infinito, noi abbiamo saputo aspettare. Perché non conta quanto aspetti, ma chi aspetti. E il Milan resta, sempre. Perché la nostra non è una favola, ma una storia unica, fatta da milioni di cuori rossoneri che batteranno in eterno. E il modo migliore per celebrarla è scrivere un nuovo inizio. Campioni d'Italia 21-22.
That sums things up then. Champions for the 2021-22 season. A very good morning from me, Patrick Kendrick. It is the first day of the new season. It is the first day of pre-season. We're going to be bringing you all of the excitement, all of the emotions from Milanello this morning as we take you through the first day of pre-season, and a wonderful clip to begin things. There you can see my colleague Francesco Specchia currently taking us through all matters in Italian. This is the AC Milan official feed coming from Milan TV. Luca Serafini joining Francesco Specchia. We will have also contributions on the ground from the training ground. Mauro Suma will be there, the official voice of the Rossoneri. We'll also have Maurizio Ferrari bringing us content. We'll hear from supporters, we'll hear from the players, we will witness some action in training as well. But we want to hear from you because we are, of course, live on the AC Milan official app in English. We are also live on YouTube, so I can see via the live chat there if you can tell us where exactly you're watching from. We will, of course, endeavour to interact with you as well. But a wonderful clip to begin proceedings, and some interesting notions there as well. So many things have changed in the 11 intervening years between Milan winning their 18th league title in 2011 and then their 19th Scudetto in the season just gone. But so many things have stayed the same as well. And of course, we saw the talismanic figure of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. But some wonderful pictures there and images from down the years, all of those famous Rossoneri triumphs, and it promises to be another wonderful season. A reminder, the Rossoneri were the champions, and here are some of the scenes from last season. We'll leave you to enjoy these.
What is that difference? It's difficult to explain, because it's more than a team, more than a jersey. Is it a feeling maybe? An energy? You have to live it. You have to feel it in order to know it. It comes from heritage, innovation, and victory. It's a combination of football royalty and the passion of the streets. It's an attitude that says, in this city, we are all different, but we are all part of something. It's that Milan touch.
That Milan touch indeed. There you can see it. Olivier Giroud taking us through the new kit launch. And of course, that kit will now be embellished by the Italian flag, the Scudetto, which is not only present on the sleeve, the embroidery there, but also will be front and centre on the crest of the shirt. And wonderful to see Olivier Giroud's endless talents. He seems to be able to do it all. Beau gosse, as they say in France. He's good looking, he scores the goals, and also he's taken us through the kit launch. There you can see Rafael Leao amongst others, along with Sandro Tonali. Rafael Leao, who played such an important role in securing the Scudetto last season, those assists on the final day of the campaign, notably at Mapei Stadium against Sassuolo. But I can see people watching from Sweden, I can see people watching from further afield as well. A reminder, if you are seeking out the Italian content, you can, of course, watch it, albeit this is the version which is geo-blocked inside of Italy. So if you are outside of the Italian peninsula, I'm afraid you're probably stuck with me. But as Francesco Specchia is saying to us, we are currently in the studios here at Casa Milan. Specchia alongside Luca Serafini, but we will also go very shortly live to Milanello to hear exactly what is going on and all of the excitement there. It is the first day of pre-season, so it's only natural that we should go to Milanello.
Già pronti? Preso 2 oggi. Voglio parare tutto oggi. Hai visto che ti hanno votato come miglior parata dell'anno? Sì, ho visto. Contento? Era giusto, dai. E Tata Rosano è già pronto, coi guanti in mano, dice voglio parare tutto oggi, ho già preso i guanti.
So there you can see some of the players arriving for pre-season. We saw Tommaso Pobega, we saw Timwe Bakayoko. Amongst others, we saw Yacine Adli there too, and Ciprian Tatarusciano, who was choking around, very relaxed mood there in his lovely lilac linen shirt, and saying how happy he was about the fact that his save, that penalty save in the first derby of the season from Lautaro Martinez, was voted the save of the year for Milan. But now let's hear from our colleague Maurizio Ferrari.
Ciao Francesco, ciao Luca, sì, anche noi siamo ripartiti da lì perché siamo partiti con il video realizzato con la voce di Fabio Volo, ma anche
So we started with that video which was narrated by Fabio Volo, but there you can see the number 19 has been the latest update. It's not the only update either. We've also seen some footage of the new training ground. And here we can see all of the renovation work which is currently ongoing at Milanello. There will be even more facilities available for Milan's training ground. And it's not just the first team that trains there as well. As you've seen, the first team came in dribs and drabs this morning. Not all of the first team players are available at this moment in time. Here's some wonderful drone footage, but there is a very exciting atmosphere here. A few jokes as well about some of the weather, because the weather has been a little bit inclement this morning. The sun is currently out, but we did catch a bit of rain as well. And lest we forget, there was that downpour to start last season, and we'd be happy to see once again a few drops of rain if indeed it does culminate in the Scudetto. We will go through, of course, where the players will be training this morning. Brahim Diaz and Paolo Maldini, along with Ricky Massara here, along with Ivan Gazidis. They're all going to cast their eye on the training session. We've got some other correspondents here at Milanello, but Maurizio Ferrari sending us back to the studio with Francesco Specchia. And now it's over to Mauro Suma. Luca Serafini joking that Mauro Suma has been at the training ground since yesterday, but Mauro Suma is at pre-season for year number, it's around 30 years that Mauro Suma has been at pre-season for Milan. So he says good morning to our colleagues as well. We're also going to hear from Luca Brivio, who's on the other side of the pitch as well. It might occasionally seem that it's the first day of school, the first day of a new season, but ultimately it all leads on from what happened in the previous campaign. Milan won the Scudetto, and you don't necessarily always win trophies. So normally the first day of school is about possibly bouncing back. But this time around, we really are kicking on from last season. It only took a few days on the 8th of July last season for Stefano Pioli to realise that Tonali and Leao were different compared to the previous campaign. And Rafael Leao and Sandro Tonali were two of the match winners for Milan down the stretch. Not the only ones, but they were crucial in terms of winning the Scudetto. Luca Brivio and Maurizio Ferrari are going to talk to us in great deal about the fans that are here in attendance. They've got the right colours, they've got the scarves with them. We've seen the Milan Club Association that are here. Thank you to the champions, reads the banner. We've got the Curva Sud in attendance. It's a very exciting day, and it's a day that we have richly deserved as well. You spoke about Krunic, Leao and Tonali. Now I want to hear which 4 players you think will step up this season, then I'll tell you mine, says Luca Serafini. Well, wait for me to wait for the end of the transfer window. No. Let's focus on the squad as it is at this moment in time. So, yes, Maldini and Massara, lest we forget. But let's talk about the figures on the field. So, Stefano Pioli really is the man that ensures that there's so much balance in this squad. Pierre Kalulu, the first banner dedicated to a player away to my left is dedicated to Pierre Kalulu. And I'd love to refer to Pierre Kalulu because before we talk about the transfer window, we're not trying to generate headlines with our signings. We're not necessarily trying to make headlines in the summer. We want to bring in players of substance. And Pierre Kalulu is emblematic of that because there weren't people crowding outside the airport when Kalulu came in, but he's proven what he's all about. In midfield, I want Ismail Benacer once again back in the middle of the park, the guy we're used to seeing. And I'd also like to see confirmation of what I felt over the course of the summer, and that was as follows, that Divock Origi could be the Fikayo Tomori of the backline. So I'm going to focus on the Belgium international. I'm going to say Salamakers, Junior Messias, Brahim Diaz, and of course, obviously, inevitably, Ante Rebic. And we're always talking about the squad that are already here, so I'd like to ask you about 2 players that might take a step up, but 2 of those 4 players that I mentioned, I think Pioli has already had a good feeling about those players, because quite rightly, I think once again we're going to talk about football once again. You know, we can leave transfer rumours to one side, but I think Stefano Pioli currently has a reduced squad. He's going to have to start training with the group that he currently has, but we'll have a 4 or 5 day training camp in Austria. But Stefano Pioli needs to start working with the players he has at his disposal, and I believe that there is great room for improvement. Pierre Kalulu, Theo Hernandez, Fikayo Tomori, Mike Maignan. There's not much room for improvement. Ismail Benacer as well, of course. Salamakers and Ante Rebic, I think he really could be a wonderful new signing, for want of a better word. So let's finish things up by going across now to Luca Brivio, because we've spoken to Maurizio Ferraro, we've spoken to Mauro Suma. Luca Brivio, who is our expert on all things Primavera, the under-19s. So it's always nice for some of these players. You know these guys better than anyone else. Talk to us about some of the young guys joining up with the first-team squad. Good morning, Francesco, and great to say hello to everyone, from everyone watching on all of our different channels. It's great to start the new season, as you said, and there are some fresh faces. There are some new faces in the squad that Stefano Pioli has named for pre-season. We will discover them after they've had a bit of a run out, a bit of a training game as well, but there are some very young guys in there. Some names in the middle of the park. And we're just having a few connection issues with Luca Brivio, but of course he is the expert on all things Primavera. Just bear with us for a moment, because of course there are some players that will certainly be featuring for Milan in years to come. So it's not just some of those faces from the first team, but it will be very exciting as well to get an insight into who exactly is at Milanello, who is contributing to the first team cause as well. But keep writing in as well. There are 2 live broadcasts, as a colleague Ron is reminding us on the live chat on YouTube, that there is one in English, there is one in Italian. This is the English live broadcast. But we've seen from the drone footage just how many supporters are in attendance. They are very excited to be at Milanello, gathering in large numbers, swathes of red and black shirts throughout the training ground. And we're now going to talk about Ricky Massara, Paolo Maldini as well, who have extended their contracts. They've been so important in guiding Milan to that 19th league title. Well, there you can see the official club statement. So there you can see AC Milan are delighted to announce that today the club's board has approved the 2-year contract extensions for Paolo Maldini and Ricky Massara, who are two hugely important figures when it comes to building this side, a team that really did so much last season to entertain the fans, to return to the top of the Italian footballing pantheon, which is why Milan will be indeed lifting that trophy once again, wearing those medals as well. And they will be having the Scudetto on their shirt once again for this upcoming season. Stefano Pioli, yes, the architect of things on the field with his players behind them, but lest we forget, so much important work was done off the field of play by the duo of Massara and Maldini, who recently extended their contracts by another 2 years. So great to see that continuity in terms of the technical direction of the club. And it will be very interesting to see what transfer dealings Milan do over the course of what remains of this summer. A reminder, it is only Monday the 4th of July. It's the first day of pre-season. Plenty of time still to come before the campaign gets underway. And we will be looking in due course at the fixture list that the Rossoneri have to face. There you can see Ismail Bennacer enjoying a cheeky ice cream as well. And Luca Serafini quite rightly talking about the results that Maldini, Massara and the club as a whole got. So it's only natural that the club have decided to continue with Maldini and Massara. But lest we forget, there has been an ownership change, and that means naturally that new figures want to come in, get their feet under the table. They want to assess who exactly is working, the human resources, and that goes right from the top of the club all the way down to the playing staff. But there you can see the players are out there on the training ground. So we're going to go live once again to Mauro Suma. So the first few strides out onto the training ground at Milanello. So Mauro, how does it feel? There you can see the senior management as well, Ivan Gazidis, who is the CEO, Ricky Massara, and indeed Paolo Maldini. So we'll hear from Mauro very briefly. So as you can see, the players are starting to have a bit of a run out. It's the first run out, just shaking off some of that summer rust, whilst the players have a bit of a jog around the pitch. And as you can see, some live footage from the training ground at Milanello. Thankfully, the sun is out after some rather inclement weather earlier on this morning. It did chuck it down in the city of Milan, I can confirm that. But keep contributing via our live chat. I can see plenty of you are watching along on YouTube. No doubt plenty of you are watching along via the official app as well. Forza Milan, read plenty of the comments. There are also some of those referencing certain names that they'd like to see brought in by the club over the course of the summer transfer window. But lest we forget, we are not here to speculate about possible names that might be joining the club. We are here to talk you through every stride that the first team takes over the course of this first day of pre-season. A reminder that we will have contributions from Milanello, from the training ground, but for the moment we've had a few technical issues, and it's only natural. The players need to get up to speed in terms of their fitness levels, and so do we need to shake off the cobwebs from what's been a heady summer, a summer where all of those associated with the club have enjoyed being once again Italian champions for the first time in 11 years. Charles de Ketelaar is one of the names doing the rounds in the chat. A reminder, we've already seen some of the footage from last season. We've also seen the unveiling of the new kit, which is resplendent. I would fully recommend you go out to official Milan stores and get your hands on the new kit, of course, which is embellished by that wonderful Italian flag, the Scudetto, what all 20 teams begin the Serie A season striving for. Only one team can top the pile last season. That team was Milan. some more suggestions as to what Milan should do in the transfer market. But lest we forget, we shouldn't get hung up on possible names to join the club. The Milan squad, as it was already well equipped, and equipped enough indeed to go on and win the title and in style. 16 matches unbeaten after that shock home defeat against Spezia, which was a bit of a shock for many reasons, including that disallowed goal for Junior Messias, one of those names mentioned earlier on by Luca Serafini. But there you can see, it's only the start. On we go. Milan reads one of the banners. Grazie Campioni, thank you champions, another of those. So as you can see, we've got Milan Club from Siena, so supporters making the journey up from Tuscany to show all of their support. There is always huge excitement, so much anticipation that builds around the first day of the pre-season. It is this first Monday of July. There's plenty of time ahead of us. But the most important thing, of course, is to make sure that the players are fit and firing and ready to go as and when the first game gets underway. Saturday, the 13th of August, the date for your diary. 6:30 local time, the home match against Udinese. So we will go through the fixture list as well. 42 days on, incidentally, since the 22nd of May, that wonderful occasion when Milan came bursting out of the traps with that brace from Olivier Giroud, 2 assists from Raphael Leao. Then he teed up Franck Kessier, who we wish the best of luck in his future endeavours. And Luca Serafini now just saying just how focused that Stefano Pioli is on his players. And there are a number of guys in that squad who have huge room for improvement. So the watchword here really for Stefano Pioli is the fact that he's going to try and get working with the players he currently has available for selection, and then we'll go from there. But there you see the figure of Simon Kjaer. How great to see him back on the field of play after that very tricky season last term, curtailed by injury. And there you can see a new training kit as well. A Puma training kit after Milan extended their contract with the technical supplier. And once again, this is a very important deal. Milan never rest on their laurels. And whilst it is absolutely sweltering in Milan, we're delighted to be back in the studio working alongside Puma and other partners as well. And once again, we're going to get a contribution from Maurizio Ferrari as well. There you can see Yacine Adli, who is a new signing, for want of a better word. Yes, he was already signed the previous season. He spent the year on loan at Bordeaux, so Girondins de Bordeaux in Ligue 1. But let's start with the training kit, as Maurizio Ferrari said, because as you've noticed, it is a new piece of kit. It's both for the first team and indeed for the first team staff. eFootball, which is a game created by Konami. It's a football simulation game, and Konami will once again have pride of place on the training kit, and also for the training kits on the match day itself, both in Serie A and the Champions League. Simon Kjaer really is a leader, and he's shown that by leading the way on the training ground. You can see just how excited people are to see him. You can see that expression on his face, how excited he is to get back out there. He has, of course, trimmed his beard. It's a much shorter facial hair than we saw him come the end of the season. He is still wearing a little bit of strapping around his knee, and of course he will gradually increase his workload on the comeback trail from that knee injury. And there you can see Yacine Adli with those luscious locks there. And once again, he's one of those leading the way because he wants to hit the ground running. He wants to get up to speed with the team that he signed for last season. But of course, now the fans can get much greater insight as to what Yacine Adli is all about. As you can see, some of the smoke there from the flares. We've got some wonderful banners as well.
fronte a noi è molto chiaro, molto evidente, il messaggio è semplice ma efficace, è solo l'inizio.
And it's only the start. So on we go, onwards Milan. Maurizio Ferrari once again stressing the importance of that banner right behind us from the Curva Sud. But there are so many banners as well with messages of support for these Milan players. Keep contributing as well to our chat on YouTube. But here you can see Milan, the reigning Italian champions, and we can continue to watch that footage from Milanello. Naturally, the players are having to go through their warm-up. But a couple of important confirmations with regards to players extending their stay with Milan. We are, of course, talking about Alessandro Florenzi and Antonio Mirante, who have extended their deals. Maurizio quite rightly said that Simon Kjaer is the man leading the way when it comes to the squad going through their warm-up. There you can see Alessandro Florenzi, the official statement there. Florenzi will take the number 25 shirt, which he had last season as well. 30 appearances, 2 goals. Lest we forget those wonderful goals, the free kick at the Castellani against Empoli and that stunning half volley at the Bentegodi against Verona in that crazy 3-1 win 3 matches from the end of the season. So Florenzi, one of those that's extended his stay with the club. And there you can see Antonio Mirante as well, an important dressing room figure, an experienced goalkeeper too. He has signed on for another 12 months. So the club have indeed exercised the year option they had on Antonio Mirante, who keeps Mike Maignan, Ciprian Tatarusciano, and the other 2 goalkeepers through their paces on the training ground. Kyler Wren says he wants to kiss Pioli's head. We've got Forza Milan, the champions of Italy, says Samson Badmus. I will be reading through some of your messages on the YouTube live chat. A reminder, we got underway at 10:45, 10:45 Central European summertime here in Milan, but we will be going through up until noon or thereabouts. We'll be watching more action from the training ground, and of course, with any luck, we'll have the opportunity not only to speak to some of the players, but also the head coach himself, Stefano Pioli, to get his feelings and first impressions from this first day of pre-season, which is always very exciting. It's a reminder that, yes, Milan won last season's title, but now we've drawn a line under that, we've turned the page, we move on, because the new campaign is on the doorstep. And if Milan are indeed to retain their crown, then they will have to be as good, if not better, because the competition is fierce. Other teams are making moves in the transfer market, but Milan will start as the team to beat. They'll be the side that's up there to be shot at. We're going to go back to Maurizio Ferrari, who is alongside a wonderful guest. There he is, Paolo Maldini. Let's hear from him. So here we are with Paolo Maldini. It's day 1 of pre-season. Finally, we're starting again. Yes, the players had a wonderful period of time off, and we can still recall what a wonderful campaign last season was, but I think it's important to remind ourselves how we got there with results. But it is time to turn the page now, and we need to be focused on the goals for this season. So we've read some of the banners, just how much enthusiasm there is from the supporters. Can that help you boost the level from last season? Yes, absolutely. It needs to be the case. We need to remind ourselves how we got here, how we actually won that title in the first place, and we need to forget some of the celebrations and the hangover from that Sassuolo game. Yes, of course, we will always remember those wonderful celebrations. We have grown as a group, but now we need to start afresh once again. Every year is different. It's day 1. We've already seen that Simon Kjaer is back as well. What have you seen, Paolo Maldini, in terms of with the team coming back? Yes, we're not completely up to full strength, because there are some players that have played with their national sides in the Nations League. So the 16th, 17th of July is when we'll be back to full strength. So not everyone is here. So we're just lacking a little bit of that team spirit, albeit a number of players know each other. A number of players have come back from loan deals away. It's the first day of pre-season. But it's never a normal day. It's never an ordinary day here at Milanello. It's always a special occasion. But of course, this will be a day like all of those that have really characterized us in previous years. It's a slightly different season this time around with the World Cup in the middle. And of course, what do you make of that? Yes, we need to get used to all of that. We soon got used to the games being suspended for COVID-19 and the pandemic, playing matches behind closed doors. So we need to get used to the World Cup as well. It will be a season which is split into two. We need to get up to speed with that. There will be opportunities for those that don't go to the World Cup. They'll have a bit of pre-season throughout the campaign, and they'll get a bit of time off as well. Yes, of course, it's all about preparing the team. It's making sure that we strive towards certain goals. We need to manage the squad as a whole. There are a whole host of different factors that are part and parcel of this wonderful job that I have. Thank you very much then to Paolo Maldini. And once again, we're going to show you some more footage from pre-season. So let's comment on what Paolo Maldini had to say there, Luca Serafini, because it was an exclusive interview we had there with the club's technical director. What do you make of that? Yes, absolutely. On the 30th of June, that was when Paolo Maldini actually left Casa Milan, having signed his new contract. But Paolo Maldini appears to be very happy. He seems to be delighted to be once again at home, working in his own habitat with his players, in his natural habitat. And he has signed some of those players as well. But lest we forget, there's been a lot of work done by Ricky Massara too. Come 2024, it'll be 70 years that a Maldini figure has been at the club, from Cesare down to Paolo and now Daniel Maldini as well. And I think Paolo Maldini occasionally casts his mind to his late father and thinks about how there's been a Maldini dynasty at Milanello throughout the decades as well. But clearly you can see a lot of excitement. He's very excited to get started once again, to work with the group of players. And as I've often said and written, we are in very good hands when it comes to the senior management. Luca, I suggest now we go to Maurizio Ferrari, but first of all to Mauro Suma. It's always interesting to get his insight as to what Paolo Maldini had to say there. So let's go to Mauro Suma. Here I am, Francesco. Thankfully I can hear you once again now. But there are so many supporters in attendance. There are lots of banners, as you can say, so determination, ambition for another season. It's only the start. On we go. Milan, Forza champions. So we've got the Chief Communications Officer there alongside the senior management, Gazidis, Massara and Maldini. And Paolo Maldini has already sent out a few messages to the team in that interview. He said, yes, we're not quite at full strength, but these are days in the office at Milanello like any other. So yes, the squad is not at full strength. We are missing some faces, but those at the training ground today can already show what they're all about. They can almost get a step ahead of some of the players that will be back to full training 10 days or so from now. So once again, Tommaso Pobega is here for the first time. And this is the first time that we're saying, OK, Pobega is going to join another club on loan. So he has a big opportunity here after those loan spells with Spezia and Torino. The 2nd of December 2021 was when Simon Kjaer went under the knife for that knee operation as well. So that's what Paolo Maldini was speaking about, all of those different things. So lest we forget, yes, Milan go into this season as reigning champions. They did win the title last season, albeit it is a fresh start. So Paolo Maldini is well aware of the potential banana skins that lie ahead for Milan. So it's time to really get focused on the next season. He's sent out some messages there as well. Ante Rebic looks fit and firing, just as Luca Serafini was saying. So it's a bit like Pippo Inzaghi in the summer of 2006 in terms of being the first to turn up to a training session. And this season is not necessarily about winning the Champions League, because football has changed a great deal over the last 16 years, but Milan need to do better at Europe's top table. They will, of course, start in pot 1, having won the Scudetto. So keep sending through all of your messages as well. Ibrahimovic, Giroud, says someone. Lewandowski, that's a fairly optimistic shout as well, but keep contributing. Not only talking about the names that you want to see in the summer transfer window, but yes, of course, as Luca Serafini is quite rightly saying, we can't say that the squad is under strength when you've already got the likes of Ante Rebic and Simon Kjaer in attendance and leading from the front. An important message as well is the fact that Divock Origi has already passed his medical with Milan. He's not at the training ground at this moment in time, but the announcement should be coming in the forthcoming days. So Luca Serafini is saying that we have signed a great player, and he was acknowledged as a real star both by the Liverpool fans, Jurgen Klopp, and the club as a whole. So he is an excellent talent. He's 26 years of age. Origi has an important past experience as well. He's not necessarily a superstar, because the Premier League is a very different league to Serie A. Tammy Abraham didn't play in the Premier League. Fikayo Tomori didn't play in the Premier League as a starter. So a number of players that are very good footballers don't necessarily start in the Premier League. And Divock Origi had Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino in front of him in terms of the pecking order. So Jean-Pierre Papin is someone that Luca Serafini is reminding as well from the past. Ruud Gullit didn't necessarily start. He was sat in the stands at a time. So Divock Origi is a player who will certainly fit in well with the footballing philosophy that Stefano Pioli has. So he's not necessarily a fox in the box that's going to wait there. He's someone who not only scores goals, but he also chips in. He's like Olivier Giroud, albeit a decade younger. So once again, Luca, you got me very excited about the prospect of Divock Origi. He comes in from a foreign league, so it's very difficult to necessarily make comparisons with Tammy Abraham and Fikayo Tomori, two players that have proven to be match winners in Serie A. We hope that the same is true of Divock Origi. So here are some of the friendlies that Milan will play this summer. Some summer friendlies against some sides on the continent, so teams that will be involved in the Conference League amongst others. So there you can see on the 16th of July, FC Köln. Zagoreczka is a team from Hungary, then Wolfsberger from Austria on the 27th of July, and then Olympique de Marseille, so Marseille at the end of July. And of course, there will be a number of experimental sides, but Milan won all of their friendlies last season as well, Luca, so that boded well. So the idea is that Milan will eventually go to Austria for 4 or 5 days, but it also comes down to the fact that this is a fixture list which is slightly changed. 2020, we had the pandemic. Last season, there were a few games played behind closed doors. We've got the World Cup, but we'll start just before the national holiday of Ferragosto on the 15th of August, and there's the World Cup in between. So all of the fixture list really has been established and put together. It's tailor-made to this rather unique atypical season. So Luca Serafini making the point then it's important to make sure that you've got enough numbers, you've got enough cover when it comes to all areas of the pitch, be it defensively in midfield or in attack, or when it comes to the goalkeeping position as well. So that's why those pre-season friendlies have been scheduled as such. There you can see Stefano Pioli just having a bit of a break with the players. Mattia Caldara there on the training ground as well. He was with Venezia last season in Serie A, lest we forget, a Venezia side that went down, but he was one of those players that certainly caught the eye. Now we're going to go back to Luca Brivio, pitch side. So Ljungdahl is one of the goalkeepers there alongside Mirante and Tatarusanu. No Mike Maignan for the moment. We'd like to take the opportunity as well to wish him a happy birthday, but Gazidis, Massara, Maldini are all there along with the coaching staff. Everyone is keeping an eye on the excitement of this first day of pre-season. Besides the fact there are a number of young players, there are also some big established players as well. I know you were talking about possible match winners, but Brahim Diaz is one of those that's been part and parcel of the squad this season. We're very curious to see the first day of pre-season for a number of these players. So when it comes to the young players, if you do want any insight as to some of the younger members of this first team squad, because yes, we were cut off from you earlier on, Luca Brivio, so we did want to hear from you now. How many supporters were there earlier on? How much excitement is there? You spoke to some of those fans outside the training ground earlier on. Yes, we got here shortly after 8 a.m. and there are already a number of supporters outside the gates waiting for the team to arrive. Of course, the rain did dampen the enthusiasm a little bit, and some of those that actually gave up and went home. But of course, there are a number of fans in attendance. There are family members of the players themselves as well. And there are those also lining up outside the training ground to see this first run-out. There's an excellent excitement environment surrounding this, some of the banners that we've seen as well. So as you said, there is a great build-up to this. Paolo Maldini was the player that, or rather the figure that got the most excitement when it came to his arrival. It shows just what an important figure he is, and he will be, of course, one of the leading figures off the field when it comes to Milan. Luca, I'd feel a bit of trepidation if I were one of those young players training alongside some of the world-class talent in the squad. How are they? Are they relaxed? What do they look like to you? Yeah, I think they're very excited. They're really up for it. There's a player who's from the under-17 squad. He's born in the year 2005, rather, so you can only imagine just how excited he is. But there are a number of players from the under-19 side as well. The Primavera, they often actually join up with the first team to train throughout the season, so it might be slightly easier for them, but for some of the other players it might actually be a first insight into the professional game. So of course they'll be very excited. This will be a day that they'll absolutely never forget. So we'll thank Luca Brivio. Now we'll come back to Luca Serafini, and there has been some silverware as well in the academy, both for the boys and the girls sides of things. So it's been a comprehensive season, a successful campaign in terms of silverware, not only with the first team, but also with regards to the academy. Luca Serafini is saying that, of course, the academy is not necessarily known for silverware, even though, of course, that is important, but the philosophy is very precise and very clear. the most important thing is actually having some of those players that come through: Calabria, Donnarumma, Locatelli, Cristante, a whole host of players that actually end up playing in the Italian top flight, Matteo Pessina. Lots of players that have actually featured at Serie A at good levels, and that's, I think, the most important thing when it comes to an academy, is preparing players for professional game. There are different approaches. Inter have a slightly different approach to academy football. They sign some of the best players at youth level because they then want to try and sell them on and make money from that. It's a slightly different policy. They win the Viareggio Cup. They actually win silverware. So there are players like Andrea Pinamonti and Nicolo Zaniolo, but there's only a couple of players, actually. Whereas, as Francesco Specchia is saying, Milan have players such as Davide Calabria they produce, who then become club captain. So there are two different ways of looking at things. So, as we mentioned, there's the likes of Locatelli, Calabria. There are players that you can actually develop for the first team, or there are other teams that decide to take the approach where they bring in better players and try and sell them on. There's no right or wrong way of doing things, but Luca Serafini making the point that he prefers Milan's policy in terms of developing talent at grassroots and having them feature for the first team, and occasionally winning silverware as well, which really is a further reward for the excellent work being done. So some of the footage from the under-15 title win for Milan against Roma. But we can also talk about the fixture list, because the fixtures have, of course, been published. Milan came up against the stronger sides at the end of last season, and then there were 6 straight wins, albeit Milan struggled a little bit against the likes of Spezia, Bologna, and so on and so forth. But we can see the opening matches of the new campaign. So there you can see we're getting much closer to the league season. There you can see Udinese, Atalanta, Bologna, Sassuolo, the games in August. Luca Serafini making the point that Udinese won't be happy to come up against Milan away at San Siro on the opening round of the season. But of course, there are signings to be made throughout the summer. There will be changes, there'll be comings and goings. But ultimately, Luca Serafini is not overly bothered by the fixture list, because ultimately you have to play every team twice, 38 matches. But there we can see Stefano Pioli looking very relaxed, looking nice and tanned and ready to go once again. But Stefano Pioli did a brilliant job alongside the senior management and his coaching staff and the players of a whole, everyone really working at the club, because it will be a league title which is remembered for years to come. Stefano Pioli had won the league title with Bologna under-19s way back when, as Luca Serafini makes the point, but Pioli was the right man at the right time, says our expert on Milan. Maurizio Ferrari is with another guest, Ivan Gazidis. Yes, here we are with Ivan Gazidis. How excited are you to see the players back? Because ultimately it's only been 6 weeks since we were in action. No, it's always very exciting to be here with our supporters. I'd like to thank the fans first and foremost, because they're always there right behind us, they're always there with us, and have been throughout this special season that we've just witnessed, and they're also ready for the new campaign. So we need to start again from scratch. And once again, we need to have renewed desire and ambition. We need to try and strive to get better week in, week out. Because after success This is the great challenge, but we are ready for it. So it's the first day of training, but it's also the first day of the new home kit, which was unveiled with Puma this morning, but also the Konami training kit as well. It shows that the sponsors are once again right behind us. Absolutely. Today we have our first look at the new Puma kit with the Scudetto on the shirt, which is hugely important. But we also have a new partnership with Konami, and that's also significant when it comes to developing the club as we move into a new era. So we're hugely proud to be backed by these two great brands. And that's a sign, once again, of Milan's ongoing expansion. It's not only the fans that are supporting us, but also the sponsors. Yes, absolutely. We all built this success last season. It was a team effort. And I think this team spirit, this togetherness, this solidarity, all of us working on the same page, not only the fans, but also all of our partners, has really contributed. It's been hugely important. So we thank Ivan Gazidis, and we'll go back to Francesco Specchia in the studio. So some wonderful contributions there from pitch side. We've heard from Paolo Maldini and now Ivan Gazidis. But we're going to stay in Milanello because I'd like to once again speak to Mauro Suma. I always want his analysis. So Gazidis has said that Milan want to get better, but that's not easy because it was a masterstroke last season. How are we going to improve upon what we did last term? Yeah, absolutely, Francesco, but ultimately that's what you need to do. There's no getting away from it. We almost won the league title ahead of schedule when it comes to our different stages of development. But the most important thing now is trying to stay up there. But improving doesn't necessarily mean winning, because improving means building the structure. It means being competitive. It means trying to be in the hunt right up until the final matches of the season. But ultimately winning comes down to a number of different factors, and occasionally the rub of the green comes into play. You don't necessarily always win, but in 2021-22 we were better than the previous season. We saw that. 42 points in the first half of the season, 44 points in the second half of the season. 8 points more than the second half of the season in the previous campaign. So that is proof that Milan were better after Christmas. And next season we need to be even better. There's no lack of motivation. The rivals are all getting better. They want to bounce back and knock us off our perch. So it's all about getting better, getting more points on the board, doing better in the Champions League. Improving means having a better Coppa Italia campaign. It's all about trying to win another piece of silverware. The 18th of January in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, there will be the Italian Super Cup as well. So it's about really building on from this, having this positive cycle. A wonderful agreement with Puma that we've spoken about. There's the new training kit as well, branded Konami. All of these different things have come to pass because the team are getting results on the pitch, because the team are doing well in their main endeavours. Let me just remind you of the following, that we've not necessarily spoken about it. Olivier Giroud is not in the squad at this moment in time because he's been given an extra day off due to personal reasons, and Olivier Giroud will be back here at Milanello tomorrow along with Divock Origi. I don't have the Istanbul final as a date for my diary. It might be Galatasaray against Paris Saint-Germain, who knows, but put it as a date for your diary. Luca Serafini was one of the first here at Milan TV that said that Milan could compete for the Scudetto, and now he's talking about a possible European final.
Sai che mi piaci sempre di più, Luca. Volevo dire.
Ma c'è collegato all'auricolare, risponde.
Lasciamolo tranquillo.
So some more comments from you guys in the chat. So there you can see there are some curious supporters as well. Curious supporters, not just of a Milan persuasion, incidentally, which is the point that Mummy Mumilla is making in the chat on YouTube.
Siamo convinti, come tutti quelli che seguono lo sport, che lo amano e quelli che lo praticano, che la conferma sia sempre più complicata.
But Luca Serafini just reminding us of the old adage that it's one thing to get to the top of the mountain, it's quite another to stay there. It is hard to consolidate your success, but he's also saying that we shouldn't underestimate one fact, namely that Milan actually won the Scudetto ahead of schedule. And Luca Serafini making the point that Milan won the Scudetto after 2.5 years of very hard work. So if we take January 2020, when Stefano Pioli was joined up by Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and Milan have really skyrocketed in terms of their points tally since that particular moment in time. And Luca Serafini also making the point that Milan were top for 22 of the 38 weeks, even when Inter won the league title the year before last. So a reminder that Milan has always been in the hunt, either first or second, whatever it may be. So it does show that Milan have been building towards this. They weren't necessarily a surprise package. It was a gradual process, yes. But Manchester United, that game in the Europa League, was the first sense that Milan could go on and achieve something great, says Luca Serafini. So keep contributing via the chat. A reminder as well, we have been live for nearly an hour now, the first day of pre-season when it comes to the Rossoneri in action at Milanello. We've seen them jogging around now, we've seen them do some ball work. We've also heard from some of the senior management figures as well. We've heard from Paolo Maldini, we've heard from Ivan Gazidis. Who knows whether we might speak to Ricky Massara as well. I hope we'll get the opportunity to speak to the head coach too, Stefano Pioli. And Francesco Specchia reminding us that despite the fact that Milan had that very taxing Champions League group featuring Porto, Atletico Madrid and Liverpool, at times the team did go toe-to-toe with that side. First and foremost, Luca Serafini asking for good refereeing performances in the Champions League group stage. The second thing he's asking for in the upcoming new season at Europe's top table Luca Serafini saying that Milan should have actually beaten Porto, or at least had a chance of beating Porto, and those are the two performances actually when they struggled. But he's saying that Milan really stepped up in the matches, both not only at European level but also domestically. When it came to the best sides, they won in Rome against Roma and Lazio, they won in Bergamo against Atalanta, and there's a reminder that at the Champions League level there is no side which is better than another team. Liverpool are on the same level as Valletta from Malta if you're not necessarily fit and firing and focused. And the third thing that Luca is asking for is that Milan make it through the group stage and make it into the knockout stage of the competition. We're going to head back once again to Mauro Suma pitch side at Milanello. So what exactly is going on the pitch? Because we're seeing some wonderful exclusive footage, but we're not necessarily exactly sure of how Stefano Pioli has decided to set up this training session.
Sì, ho fatto anch'io una capatina, Francesco, nella postazione ombra, perché la postazione ombra, perché qui era la
Mauro Suma has now said that he's actually sought out the shade because it is sweltering at Milanello on these first few days of July. But as for the training session, the players are doing a technical drill into a few short moments ago, so it was a case of exchanging passes. And then as and when they took their second touch, that's when there was a change in tempo. Stefano Pioli split the players into three groups. There was the group of the Italian champions, Kjaer, Rebic, Bakayoko, Brahim Diaz and Samu Castillejo. Then there was the three young midfielders, Brescianini, Pobega and Adli. And then Daniel Maldini and Matteo Gabbia was another group. And once again, they're all working on this exercise. Now they're working on a rondo. There will be a short training game which will last for around 15 minutes, a quarter of an hour. But what I would say is the following, Francesco. It's a fairly normal training meet-up. We love to do things consistently, day in, day out here at Milan. Yes, it was an extraordinary achievement to be Italian champions, but we want it to be another run-of-the-mill season, so perhaps we'll not necessarily be the favourites when it comes to the ratings of the summer transfer window, but ultimately Milan's day in, day out work is all about testing themselves on the pitch with no excuses, no tension, no anxiety, and I think the first day of pre-season really has been in line with all of that. Francesco, I think you were right to rule me out of this conversation with Luca Serafini when it comes to the Champions League final. Because I'd like it to be another ordinary run-of-the-mill season once again where Milan get down to business. So
voglio dirti che merita una parentesi il fatto che già oggi da scudetto e da Champions, come sempre, sono I tifosi. Fa caldo, c'è un periodo di vacanza, ci sono.
So it is still very warm. The fans are on holiday. Some of the players are on holiday, but there is still a huge turnout from the supporters. There we can see some more footage as the players just grabbing a drink, but do you remember people were saying that Milan benefited in terms of their form from the fact that matches were being played behind closed doors, which is nonsense really, given how many fans turned out. It's much better to have the support of the crowd as opposed to not. But there you can see the drone footage, you know, people peering in at the training ground. They can't get enough of this Milan side.
Una sorpresa per tutti, il Milan era quello dei 4-5 anni mediocri, forse anche 6.
You know, everyone was saying that Milan were a surprise package, that Milan had a 4 or 5, even 6-year period where they were struggling. Yes, of course, there was that Super Cup win, but we did come into this period after a number of years of mediocrity. There was the 5-0 defeat at Gevi Stadium in Bergamo. Marco Giampaolo's time in charge was fairly unsuccessful. But I'm delighted to say, Luca, that we've got a huge guest with Mauro Suma. So over to you, Mauro. So we have spoken to the technical director, Paolo Maldini. We've spoken to the CEO, Ivan Gazidis. Now we've got the sporting director, Ricky Massara. I'd like to come back to Lazio Milan. We were all like you, your excitement and expression after that game. Yes, that was a wonderful game. It was an invigorating occasion, and we all were aware that that Lazio away game really was the match which could ultimately prove crucial when it came to chasing down the league title. We all realised the players first and foremost, and they did a brilliant job in actually guiding us to the title, and that's why we celebrated in the first place. We're surrounded by a number of happy supporters and very content fans, but ultimately football's all about hard work, joy and despair, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about having these players and fans turning up wearing our colours. Yes, we work very hard to try and put a smile on the faces of our fans. That's ultimately the end goal, and we'll continue to do so. There's a lot of passion surrounding this team. It really drove the team forward, to achieve wonderful things, not only last season, but also over the last 2.5 years as a whole. And we need to kick on from that. We need to start again from scratch. We need to draw a line under the wonderful season that we had last term. It's going to be a very tricky opening match of the season, but we want to do better than last season. We want to compete. We want to be even more competitive in the Champions League, and I hope there'll be a lot of success in the upcoming campaign. So yes, not much has changed. We won the title last season. We're delighted about that, but we always feel that we need to kick on and keep improving, right? Yes, we can keep improving, because I believe that the players in this squad still have huge room for improvement. They have great potential. The players need to try and harness that with the help of the staff and the head coach. But we have gone back to what we become accustomed to here, namely that the team is competitive. The players have also contributed to their own chapter of history. We need to be competitive, as I said, in every single match of the season, in every single front, every single competition that we're involved in. So as I said, there is a real feel-good factor, but we want to start again and we want to do well right from day one. So Stefano Pioli has got them firing, fit and firing right from day one, but right from last season, he said we need to improve on our tally from the second half of the season. He was right on that. What do you think about this upcoming campaign? You mentioned the Champions League. Is that where we need to improve, or is there something else that Ricky Massara wants to see improved upon immediately in the upcoming campaign? No, we want to improve day in, day out. We want to improve in terms of our quality, the team's maturity, in terms of our self-confidence. And we also want to approach every game with the certainty that if we want to improve, then there is very little room for error. In fact, almost none whatsoever. So it will be a very challenging campaign. We all expect to have a different approach. And we know that we will encounter difficulties. We will have to work very hard, but we should have success as well. Best of luck this season. Same to you. So we thank Ricky Massara there, and we'll go back to you, Francesco and Luca, in the studio. So a quick comment then, Luca, about what Ricky Massara was just saying, and then we'll go back to Luca Brivio. He said that we have to draw a line under everything, and we mustn't forget what we've achieved, but everyone is waiting for us. Of course, Milan are the team up there to be shot at. So, of course, the league will be even more competitive, and I'd really like to echo what Gazidis, Maldini and Massara have all said. So I'd echo their thoughts in the sense that great moments, celebrations, league titles, you mustn't necessarily put them to one side. You need to keep them at the forefront of your mind so that you can actually remind yourselves of how you got there in the first place. Yes, of course, you want to once again experience days such as those once again. You want to encounter and experience weeks like that once again. Of course, they say start again from scratch, reset. But of course, you need to make sure that you don't necessarily get ahead of yourselves. You don't want your wings to be clipped. But as and when this training session is over and the team go for lunch in the clubhouse and they walk through those corridors and they see the photos of those teams that have won silverware in the past, then they can actually understand how they got there in the first place. This team now knows exactly how to do that. So it's not a case of actually drawing a line under that and doing away with it. You need to keep in the forefront of your eye. So you need to remember those emotions from Reggio Emilia against Sassuolo, the square outside Casa Milan, the 22nd of May, the 23rd of May, when the team took that route to Piazza Duomo. And so that's what you need to keep at the forefront of your mind so the team can once again go back to Piazza Duomo. And now we're going to go back to our colleagues, Luca Brivio and Mauro Suma, to talk us through this first training game of the first day of pre-season. So Mirante is the goalkeeper in the black strip. Tatarusciano meanwhile, is the goalkeeper for those in the green bibs. Ante Rebic was a whisker away from curling one into the far corner. It's an 11 against 11 training match over the course of a half-size pitch. And Robeck hitting the ball into the side netting there. So Mauro Suma is talking us through, commentating nay on the training game, but Simon Kjaer has already said that he wants to be the leader of this backline. It's a number of players from the under-17 side, the under-19 side, from the academy as a whole. Lest we forget, we won the league title when it came to the under-15 male side. The under-17 girls team also won the league. The first team, lest we forget, won the league. So there were 3 league titles, U15 boys, U17 girls, and the men's first team as well. Castillejo going very close to scoring there, but Luca Brivio, who works with the academy day in, day out, is now going to tell us a little bit about the 2 different sides. Stanga is right back in the black team. He made his debut in the away game against Venezia. Michelis, who's just come back from loan, with Simon Kjaer. They're the 2 centre-backs. And then Bartesaghi from the under-17s is a very exciting left-back. Bakayoko and Brescianini are in the middle of the park. The latter's just come back from a loan. So Stanga was the captain of the Primavera last season, Brescianini 3 years ago. Adli on the ball there, has played the ball out wide. So he is playing as a number 10 on the first day of pre-season. Roback is ahead of him, who you commentated on earlier on, hitting the side netting. There's also Castillejo and Rebic alongside Adli. So that's the black side. As for the team in green bibs, Mattia Caldara, Gabbia and Verdi. So that's the back line. And Eli Lali scores the first goal of pre-season, so well done Eli Lali. We've seen him do this with his celebrations on a frequent basis when it comes to the under-19 side, the Primavera. So that's the first goal of pre-season. Eli Lali, who's a 2003. This is in Corvaglia, who's another player. So Kubis is on the other side. Then there's the young player Gala. Chaka Touré is up front. Rebic is looking fairly sharp as well. So Brahim Diaz and Daniel Maldini alongside El Hilali. Those are those just off the main striker, which, as we mentioned, is Traoré. So Giacomo Morelli, the number 2 to Stefano Pioli, is in the middle of the park. We've got Stefano Pioli away to our left. We've got Daniele Bonera keeping a close eye on all matters as well. So here's in Corvaglia, well found by Brahim Diaz. Brahim Diaz has been on the ball plenty. There's Yacine Adli. He's looking very sharp already. Now Castillejo picking his head up. In it comes. And headed clear by Matteo Gabbia, one of those playing at the back in this side wearing green bibs. A number of people have spoken about the fact that Yacine Adli can play in several different positions in the middle of the park, but it's interesting to see him operating as a number 10, but we've already enjoyed what we've seen from Yacine Adli thus far. So Daniel Maldini there with the step-overs. His shot was blocked. Now Castillejo. 1 against 1 with in Corvaglia. Adli, nice turn. And Tatarusciano right behind it, but Yacine Adli already making a good start. just going to have a bit of a cooling break, as we call it, in the trade, so the players can get a bit of fluids on board. But there you can see a 2005 that we were speaking about earlier on. He's an under-17 player, but he's already playing up in the under-19 side, so you can see that he's a very exciting prospect. Chaka Touré is one of the other young guys in the squad, and Stefano Pioli has already noticed the character that these guys have. It's not easy as a young player when you're involved as well, so playing with the senior crop too. So keep sending in your messages as well via YouTube. I can see plenty of you on the live chat, plenty of you watching from further afield. Let us know where exactly you're watching from, keeping an eye on Milan's first training session on this, day one of pre-season, the 4th of July 2022. The first day of a new season when Milan begin the campaign as Italian champions, champions for the 19th time, lest we forget, after that incredible season last term, which culminated in 86 points for the Rossoneri, that breathless 3-0 victory at Mapei Stadium against Sassuolo. So keep telling us where you are watching from. We've got people watching from India. Kevin 14, new chapter, new goals. Here we go. Forza Milan. We've got someone saying Yassin. Yes, because Yassin Adli is back after his loan spell with Bordeaux. Tommaso Pobega is back as well after spending a season in Turin with the Granata under the stewardship of Ivan Juric. We've got greetings from Macedonia. Hello, big fat boy. Great to see you. Pakistan, Sweden. Wonderful to see just how many supporters are keeping tabs on Milan. Watching from Fiji. Wow, what an exotic location that is. I wish I were there with you on the beach. Instead, I'm stuck in a booth at Casa Milan, but I wouldn't be anywhere else because Christchurch in New Zealand, United States. Wow, you're up early. Watching from work in Norway. Good. Don't let your boss catch you watching pre-season. Sweden. We've got, I believe, a Maltese flag there, Miguel Kurmi, if you can confirm as much. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Ferdinand Valemus. Forza Milan from Denmark. We've got Germany. Good evening from New Zealand. Good evening to you from New Zealand. From Poland. Lots of Poles watching as well. Armenia. Great to see you guys. Sudan, Qatar, Hungary. This is absolutely stunning. It is impressive just how much support, what these colours, what this club does to people, because the Rossoneri is really a passion which goes beyond borders. Mumbai, Manchester, UK, Kosovo. We've got Nigeria represent, New Zealand, Sudan, Palestine. Great to see you in attendance as well. Kosovo, Hainan in China, Palestine once again, Sweden. We've got watching from Kabylia. I don't know where that is. If you could tell me where that is, I'd be delighted. You can see I've got some flaws in my geography as well. Azerbaijan, Malaysia. We've got people in Africa watching from West Africa and Ghana. We've got Israel, Fiji, Haaland or Nunez. I'm not going to mention either of those two players, really, as they're now at Manchester City and Liverpool, respectively. Let's focus on all matters Rossoneri. Forza Milan from Indonesia. Kurdistan is here as well, watching from my desk in Ghana. Palestine, absolutely fabulous. We've got people at Milanello from Siena, which is not particularly far away. Tuscany, they've made the trip up the Italian peninsula, but all of those of you watching from home are showing just how much support there is for this team. Vietnam, Iraq, Kurdistan, Armenia. Tell us your highlights from last season as well. Which was your favourite match? What was your most exciting moment? What was the goal you enjoyed the most? When was the moment when you realised that Milan were going to win the title? Want to see more of Plizzari and more young blood, says someone there. We've got people from Indonesia, Nigeria. But keep telling us your favourite goal from last season, your player of last season. When was the moment when you realised that Rossoneri were going to win the title for the 19th time? We've got people watching from Somalia and Syria. It's 3 a.m. over here in America. Shout out to you. Watching there. We've got people watching in Austria. No doubt you'll have the opportunity to watch Milan from close quarters as and when the club goes to the likes of Klagenfurt to take part in those friendlies that we mentioned earlier on. We are now back in the studio alongside our Francesco Specchia, who's talking us through once again Yassin Adli, who has joined from Bordeaux. He was already a Milan player. And Yassin will turn 22 later on this month, born on the 29th of July 2000. He is a former France youth international. He's got great room for improvement, as Luca Serafini reminds us of. We've got people watching from Albania, Australia. Favourite match, Emmanuel Darko says the return leg against Inter. Absolutely. Who could forget that second league match against the Nerazzurri when Milan trailed, and yet Olivier Giroud, with 2 goals in 3 minutes, not only won that match, but also that match proved crucial because it meant that Milan, even though they didn't necessarily need to, could have afforded to draw against Sassuolo. Such was the superior head-to-head against the cross-city rivals. As we look back again on that wonderful turn and shot from Yacine Adli, but Ciprian Tatarusanu not caught out by the slight bounce in front of him, an awkward bounce in front of him. No less. Nicola Sansoni against Inter, someone says. Abed Berisha, that's a reminder of Bologna 2, Inter 1, that infamous game in hand that the Nerazzurri couldn't win. Tonali against Lazio, Kevin Ng. I'm with you on that one. Emmanuel Darko says the time he realised that Milan could win the Scudetto was after that breathless late victory at the Stadio Olimpico against the Biancocelesti. The win against Lazio gave Scudetto hope, so Shakur Marini agrees on that. This season, Akos Varga went crazy. Favourite game was the home match against Atalanta, because I was there and it was very decisive, says Gogo Ba. Wow, what a game that was. The goal from Rafael Leao and then the incredible 80-yard run from Theo Hernandez when he emulated Georges Weah from all those years ago and scored that absolutely stunning goal. Giroud's winner against Inter, says David Vasiliev. Theo's goal, that can only surely be the one against Atalanta. Watching Milan fans take over the Mapei was amazing. Here, a reminder that the Città del Tricolore, the appropriately named stadium where Milan sealed their 19th league title, was a wall of red and black. It was Rossoneri fans in numbers. You could barely see a Sassuolo shirt amongst them. David's watching from Ghana. Forza Milan from Finland. Hi from Germany, says Snowgirl. After Theo's incredible goal, says Gebri Segaye. Absolutely. That goal from Theo Hernandez will forever be in my heart, says Adewusi Toby Loba. I tend to agree as well. I had the good fortune of commentating on that goal. So if you were watching that via the international feed, wherever you get your Serie A action from, then you might have heard my voice on that goal. It really was the moment when we all felt that Milan were finally going to go and get the job done. They'd done enough to win the title. Of course, there was still that last hurdle to be negotiated at Mapei Stadium in Reggio Emilia, but it was when Theo scored that goal to make it Milan 2, Atalanta 0 that everyone sensed the job was almost done. Adli, the new Modric, a big claim from Youssef. Ciao from Indonesia. We've got amazing to hear your commentary on our final game, says Mohammed. Thank you so much, Mohammed. It's always nice to hear words of praise, so I salute you for that. I appreciate it. From Hungary, we will wait for you. In Albania, we celebrated like crazy the winning of the Scudetto. I know there's huge support indeed for the Rossoneri colours in Albania, just across the Adriatic Sea from where we are here in Milan. Benacer against Cagliari, the most beautiful goal of the season. Well, who could forget that wonderful strike at Unipol Domus? The ball fizzed into Giroud's feet. He scooped it up and Benacer pured it on the volley. The run of 1-0 wins, yes, though that really showed how galvanised Milan were, how solid the Rossoneri side were. The ability to get those victories against the likes of Napoli and Empoli. Who could forget those narrow victories? They were all so important down the stretch. Maignan, Theo, Tomori, Kalulu, Calabria, Tonali, Benacer, Leao, Adli, Ziyech and Origi. So someone already predicting a possible starting 11 with a couple of new faces that are not necessarily already confirmed. Indonesia is watching. When will the away and third kit be released? That's a good question. And one I suggest that you keep an eye on all official channels of Milan to have the answer to that. Tatarusanu should be given more praise. I tend to agree on that. Had he not saved the penalty, we would have been hoping for European competition and not even competing for the Scudetto. That's a reference to Tatarusanu, who saved a penalty from Lautaro Martinez in the first league derby this season when Mike Maignan was still going under the knife to repair his wrist stop. Tonali's 2023 Champions League winning goal is a beauty. Kylo Ren getting a little bit ahead of himself. Can't wait for Milan to bring in a player like Ziyech, says someone else. A reminder that there have been some movement already when it comes to the January, or rather the summer transfer window. And now we are going to see a clip about the new contract renewal with Puma.
Or the time we bonded over the same passion. Or that time when we decided to run everywhere because we just couldn't stand still. Remember the time we screamed to the top of our lungs. Or the time we spoke our minds and nobody listened because we were too young. That hurt, but it moved us. Like when they told us we couldn't play soccer and we did it anyway. We owned that field, wearing our hearts on our sleeves. Still do. Because we'll always fight for what we believe in. Always have, always will, forever. Because together, we brave the future.
Luca, devo ammettere che sono andato a Cervia per l'incontro con gli
Together, we brave the future. Quite the message there when it comes to the new partnership with Puma.
Abbiamo visto i numeri, ho visto proprio i numeri del Milan fuori dal campo e sono rimasto anch'io che lavoro dentro e tutti insieme, no? Portiamo questi numeri nel nostro piccolo. Non pensavo fossero così importanti.
So once again, Francesco Specchia just talking about the importance of the numbers there, but you can see Forza Milan from Timor-Leste. So there you go. Boa tarde, boa tarde. To you, watching from Timor-Leste, announce the Belgian Kjaer to Milan, please. I refuse to believe that Milan has ever won a Scudetto with so many close calls as the last one. But yes, the team really held their nerve down the stretch. Tell Puma not to play too much with the design? No, indeed. There are a number of features of the kit which will not be touched, which will not be played with. Ibra's impact was huge, completely. Forza Milan from Borneo Island. Wonderful. Forza Milan from Germany. They're watching in Spain as well. Forza from Somalia. Aposphere says, I knew Milan would win when we overcame Roma away and Fiorentina away. Goal of the season was Theo Hernandez in terms of the aesthetics. There you can see Simon Kjaer just having a bit of a chat with Ivan Gazidis. But Giroud's second goal against Inter was the most crucial for bragging rights. Commentator, you owe me a Milan jersey if we win the Scudetto next year. Well, there you have it. It remains to be seen whether I'll keep up my end of the bargain. Love from Indonesia. Please get Renat Sesh, who is currently playing for Lille, a player linked with Milan. Who knows as to whether Milan will once again dip into a signing from LOSC Lille after the success of Raphael Leao and Mike Maignan. Lille has been a very good feeder club, for want of a better word, for Milan in recent seasons. And Renato, as we must officially call him for his official Portuguese pronunciation, is a very exciting talent. Burst on the scene with Benfica. His career tailed off a little bit, but he is still a European champion, part of that Euro 2016 winning side for Portugal. And he wouldn't have signed for Bayern Munich in the first place had he not been good. And he's now got his career back on track with Lille. But we are going to go back to Milanello, and we're going to go back to Mauro Suma as well. We've got people watching from Azerbaijan. We've got Zlatan's goal against Roma was flames. That's the free kick, lest we forget. A brilliant goal that one was as well. Forza Milan from Bangladesh. And someone just wants to see Zlatan score at least one goal in the Champions League to become the oldest ever scorer. Yes, he would go above Francesco Totti, should he manage to find the net. So Stefano Pioli has been greeting some of the fans pitch side. Once again, Stefano Pioli has had a bit of a chat to the players out there in the middle of the park. But Pioli's on fire has now started as ever. That chant, Pioli's on fire, which was really the refrain from all of last season. It started with the players and then the fans took it on board. It became part of that San Siro pre-match playlist too. So Maldini, Massara and Gazidis did have a chat with some of our colleagues from Milan TV. They kept a close eye on training as well. And as ever, it's a run-of-the-mill session. Mauro Suma just making that point ahead of the start of the new season. No ifs, no buts. And Rebic is coming along to say hello as well.
come un segnale, perché solitamente quando i giocatori il primo giorno di raduno magari hanno altro per la testa, queste piccole attenzioni non le hanno.
And Marusu, we're just making the point that the fact that Rebic wanted to come over and say hello to us is a good sign that he's fit and firing. His mind is not necessarily elsewhere as it can occasionally be. I want to see Daniel Maldini with the number 3 on his back. Please make it happen, says Daniel Vasiliev. Absolutely. I shouldn't talk about transfer speculation. Thank you, Arba Berisha, for reminding me of my professional integrity that needs to be at the forefront of my mind throughout. This is, for want of a better word, this is a watch-along. We do have the Italian feed coming from Milan TV. This is me, Patrick Kendrick, joining you for the first day of pre-season training. We have already had some wonderful interviews because we've heard from the senior management. But, Luca, it seems that Ante Rebic really is the headline maker of the first day of pre-season. I've got a feeling we're still going to have some exclusive content coming in the way of interviews. I miss Pioli yelling bravo Ante, absolutely. Pobega and Adli, good combination. Yes, 2 of the new faces that have come back in from loan spells away. Ante Rebic, says Max True. We've got Forza Milan from Ghana. Good to see Siduk Toure there with the Black Stars. The name is David, not Daniel, but I forgive you. I apologise for that slip. There you can see Brahim Diaz wearing the GPS vest, looking in good shape as well, the Spaniard. How we can't wait for him to get back on the score sheet and also playing around with our Milan TV cameras by throwing that bottle of water. So clearly the mood is good in the camp. The players are feeling relaxed, looking excited too. Forza Milan from Turkey, from the looks of things as well. We've got people watching from Kuwait, which is fantastic. I believe we've got people watching from Tunisia. Again, I'm trying to decipher some of these flags. I apologise if I'm not necessarily getting them right. Pobega will be a monster, says Stefan Yanku. Forza Milan watching from work in Kazakhstan. Well, there you have it. Absolutely fantastic to see. Just great, wonderful support from all 4 corners of the globe. And now, right on cue, we have Stefano Pioli, the head coach, with us. Let's hear from him. He's with Maurizio Ferrari. Let's go down to Maurizio. Here we are, Gaffer. Do we want to start slightly differently? Do we want the head coach to ask the journalist how many times he sang Pioli's on Fire this summer? No, it was an absolutely wonderful summer. I spent some quality time with my family, my friends, and all of the Milan fans, because wherever I went, I saw people with Milan flags, Milan shirts. It was a wonderful summer. And of course, now we're starting a new season. There's a lot of excitement and there's a desire to once again kick off from where we've been. When you went to Forte dei Marmi, when you went to Sicily, did you feel that the Rossoneri fans were always behind you, that they always wanted to come up and greet you? How did that feel? Yes, I think what's great about what we achieved is really getting the fans involved, all of those that really contributed to last season, that feel-good factor, that enthusiasm, that passion. So absolutely, I think it really was a wonderful season, an excitable summer. And it's wonderful what we were able to experience and what we continue to experience. And I hope what we're about to start is going to be equally wonderful. On the 8th of July last season, it rained. There were a few drops of rain this season, but over the course of the season, you said to us that you noticed that Rafael Leal and Sandro Tonali looked a little bit different on the 8th of July. Have you noticed anything different on the 4th of July 2022, or should we wait? No, I suggest we wait, but first and foremost, because we're not necessarily at full strength at this moment in time. That will only come to pass 10 days from now, but I think the most important thing was to come back here, start seeing each other again, once again start working together, and only doing that can we really start to find that synergy, get on that same page once again and find that magic touch that we had last season. The players worked very hard. We've always shown a lot of respect to one another, and it's always a case of taking a step back and seeing how we can improve. I think that's the journey we need to go on once again this season. It was important to get started again, but it will be good to once again wait for everyone to come back to first-team training. But we are all in touch, and everyone seems very motivated. So, Stefano Pioli, you're still in touch with the team, and you have been throughout the summer. Yes, absolutely. It's a lot easier to stay in touch these days because you can see photos all over the place. We send each other messages. And yes, we have all stayed in close touch because we've continued to celebrate the league title, even though we were in different areas of the world. But now we are starting to once again build ahead of the next season. So it was great to win the title, but we know how much work went into claiming the Scudetto. We knew how much belief that we had to show in our own ability, how much I had to believe in my players' ability, and we know how much work lies ahead of us. It will be not necessarily hard, I don't think that's the right word, but it will be a wonderful job that we have ahead of us to try and once again sample these same feelings. A year ago, you were very focused on improving the second half of the season, moving from 36 points to 44 points. On the eve of this new season, where exactly do you want to improve upon ahead of the new campaign? I think it will be a very unique season, and I think from the 13th of August to the 13th of November, that first 3-month window will be almost a separate league season, but it will be nonetheless very important for the season as a whole. So I think for those 21 matches, 15 in the league, 6 in the Champions League, I think already all of the teams will realise just what an important period that is. So we need to make sure that we are mentally, physically, tactically and technically prepared so that we can hit the ground running for that busy 3-month period. There will be a number of tricky encounters, but it will be a very exciting period. So with such a great squad that you've already built, that has already come such a long way, every new signing that could potentially come in is already going to be part and parcel of that fabric, isn't it? Absolutely, and that has to be the case. Because come October, we'll have been working together for 3 years with this particular group of players. So we know each other very well. We know exactly what it is we want to achieve. But we also know that we need to continue to amaze each other and we need to dazzle our opponents as well. We mustn't take anything for granted. We don't start the new season with 86 points. We'll start with the same points tally as our opponents. And so we do, of course, have principles of play. We do have our footballing notions. We want to play the football we know how to. And so all of the players that could come into this squad will need to adapt. I hope they can come in sooner rather than later because we have a very clear identity. Thank you very much, and the best of luck in pre-season. Thank you very much. Have a great day. So there we have Mauro Suma has spoken to Stefano Pioli. So Luca Serafini, quick comment on what the head coach has said. He's always very relaxed but also determined. He's also very clear as well. It reminds me of the week following the league title. I think it must have been the 25th or 26th of May. Only a few short days had gone by and he had already spoken about raising the bar. Because in sport as a whole, not only football, that is the way things are. If you win Olympic gold, then of course you need to try and reclaim that title. You need to think about how you're going to get back to work. And as we said, it's harder almost to stay on top of the mountain than it is actually reaching there in the first place. We're going to go to Maurizio Ferrari, who's alongside Simon Kjaer. Over to you, Maurizio. Here we are then with Simon Kjaer. So we could see you leading the way right from the word go in that training session. You want to show what a leader you are. Yes, absolutely. I've been waiting 7 long months for this day. So yes, I'm absolutely delighted. I'm very happy to be back here with the lads to start again and once again play football. So I'm delighted. How are you? Of course, I have to ask you about all this time on the sidelines. No, I'm well. I've worked very hard, but there's still a lot of hard work to be done. But physically, I'm feeling well. I had a bit of time off, a bit of holiday with the family. But I only had one goal in mind throughout my holidays, and that was to get back to Milanello, start training and get out there playing again. So I'm happy. I'm happy to be back. At the end of the training game, I saw you immediately going over to analyse your data, so you're already focused on the league season. You wanted to see how you are from GPS data? So I've spent the last 4 months with data, numbers. I know exactly where I should be, what level I should be at, the numbers I should be at, so that I can gradually get better in terms of my fitness levels. But it's important to know where you are and have that GPS data, and I think I did a good job for day one. Is it nice to start again with a Scudetto on your shirt? Yes, I think we're all delighted to have the Scudetto on our shirt. But I think that also gives us a lot of pressure to once again put 100% in this season. We need to keep growing. Yes, we've won the title, but as I said in the past, as I said at the end of last season, we need to keep getting better. So this season, we need to once again improve. We like hearing that because that shows you've set the bar very high in the squad. Absolutely. We're Milan. We've won the league title, and that's the way things should be. So let's thank Simon Kjaer and once again welcome back into the first-team squad for this new season. So let's thank Simon Kjaer once again. We'll thank Maurizio Ferrari. We have certainly not forgotten you fans. Luca, you look like you're a little bit tired, but it's nice to see that you... oh, look who it is. We nearly forgot about him. We've got to go to Lollo as well, our Twitch host. Look at him with that wonderful blonde hair, that wonderful tan as well. So Lollo just reminding us that he had bet that he would dye his hair blonde if and when Milan won the league title, and he's kept that promise as well. So once again, we've gone full circle then. We've seen large numbers, large swathes of Rossoneri fans up and down Italy with these huge numbers of people, this crowd. And once again, we've seen it as well here today. But make sure you guys keep contributing too on our YouTube chat as well. Bravo, Mr. Pioli, next season squad. Rossoneri road to win the Champions League. Watching from Nigeria, West Africa, the Viking of the defence. Yes, of course, we're referring to Simon Kjaer, who we've just heard from. Simon is back, my Viking. Welcome back, Viking. Our mighty Viking, that's our Kjaer, El Capitano. And some comments as well on what Stefano Pioli had to say as well. Stefano Pioli. Bravo, Mr. Pioli. Forza per sempre noi, Curva Sud Milanisti, sezione. From Indonesia. We had some Indonesian fans coming over in huge numbers towards the end of last season as well. Milan should work to get fans in Ghana also involved in the team's experiences. Pioli's on fire. You have fans from Kazakhstan. Bring back Balotelli, says Vincent Aboubakar, who I believe was a player in his own right. Can't you buy a shirt at Puma store in Indonesia? We'll look into that one for you. Forza Milan from Iraq. Forza Milan. I hope Milan's store would open a branch in Indonesia. I noticed lots of Indonesians who would love to buy from Milan's store Italy, but they refuse because of the high shipping costs. That is information that we will feed back. Pioli, can you show us the Scudetto tattoo? That's a very good point. We didn't get the chance to feed that back to the head coach. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, we will have the first press conference with Stefano Pioli. You can watch it on our channels, but we'd like to thank Mauro Suma, Maurizio Fari, Luca Brivio. Let's thank as well Francesco Specchia, Luca Serafini. Thank you for joining us in as well. So make sure you are tuning in once again at 3 o'clock. Delighted to have taken you through this first day of pre-season, and we'll be back with lots of content on Milan TV, and have a great season, everyone. Goodbye.
Sapete cosa rende eterno questo momento? Che ha una storia unica. Come quella di 11 anni fa. Quante cose sono cambiate da allora. Altre invece non sono cambiate affatto. Come la nostra voglia di essere i migliori. Sempre. Anche quando si giocava senza reti nelle porte, ma con la stessa passione che ci univa. Anche quando il percorso per la vittoria sembrava infinito, noi abbiamo saputo aspettare. Perché non conta quanto aspetti, ma chi aspetti. E il Milan resta. Sempre. Perché la nostra non è una favola, ma una storia unica, fatta da milioni di cuori rossoneri che batteranno in eterno. E il modo migliore per celebrarla è scrivere un nuovo inizio. Campioni d'Italia 21-22.